Hello everybody, welcome to the another one Hero Tongues podcast. My name is Bart.
My name's Adam, and today's podcast will briefly talk about travel and different situations within travel, and we'll be looking at the advantages, disadvantages, what to do, what not to do, and language surrounding travel, our experiences of travel, and things you should watch out for as well.
Yeah, exactly. So let's start with you because you are traveling more than me.
Only a lot.
As far as I know, you were in 16 countries.
Yeah.
So what's your feelings about traveling in general?
My feelings about travel in general, it depends on what perspective you want to talk about, but let's talk about the basics first. I think what's interesting to know when you're traveling is situational English and the situations that you might use that situational English in. So we can start with accommodation. I think knowing where you're going to stay, why you're staying there, very important. Like, what countries have you travelled to?
Earlier I was in Croatia, España, Greece, Portugal also.
So España in English would be Spain.
Spain, yeah, exactly.
And Croatia. So when you went to these countries, primarily, why did you go there?
I went there like 5 years ago, in España especially, last time as far as I remember, and I was there for vacation time.
So it was a vacational trip.
Yeah.
So not related to work, not living there for a couple, like a brief stint you would say. So you went for vacational, a type of holiday.
Exactly.
So accommodation to you, where did you stay? So where did you stay?
I used the general prepared offer, so I only paid, go by bus, I had everything complete.
So in English, you would say in colloquial English, you would say it was all laid on for you. It was all laid on for you, meaning that you paid the price, everything's included in that price, the connections to and from the airport. All you need to do is arrive with your passport and it's all taken care of. So your accommodation, was it based near the city centre or was it on the outskirts?
I was in the, I don't remember the special place, Lloret de Mar. So yeah,
Okay.
I was in Lloret de Mar, and it was like 300 meters from the beach. That
Very
was
nice.
the goal.
Also, it's a relaxation holiday.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you would say you didn't do much sightseeing, or did you do any sightseeing, or was it not that kind of trip?
A little bit, but not too much.
There's a saying in English, if you go on one of these kind of vacations where you fly and then you lie, so you fly and then you sunbathe.
But I drive by bus.
You drive by
Which I
bus.
regret because it's terrible, but...
Yeah, but they call it a fly and flob. That's what they call it. So you fly there and then you flob, which means you then lie on your back and you're in the sun and you're having a relax. Very popular tourism destinations to do things like that. When I go travelling, normally my experience with travelling is I don't lie down. I can't keep still very often. So I like to explore and do different things. So sightseeing, you would say, is very important for me. When that's connected to accommodation, I'm looking for something quite central, especially if it's a city break and I can see a lot of the city, different locations, different monuments. Vacational trips where I lie down and stay on the beach, not usually for me. I can spend maybe an hour on a beach and then I have to move. I can't just relax like this.
Yeah, but when you are when you are choosing the accommodation, what do you firstly take care of? I mean,
Yeah.
when you're looking for accommodation in some offer or something, you are looking on the price or the place or what?
So you're looking for personal preferences, you would say.
Yeah.
So when you're doing all the little slidey things on the websites, doing all the different things, or if you go into a travel office and you're communicating with a real person, not a computer system, you're looking for what suits your needs, you would say. What suits your needs? So you're looking for where is the accommodation? How far is it from the airport? But it all depends on which country you're going to. So if you're going to a dangerous country, do you have a connection from the airport to your hotel? Or is it within walking distance? Is it safe to walk? What time of the day will I land? So all these factor into different things. So they alter the price, they alter your connections. It all depends. So with me, I travel in quite unusual ways and stay in quite obscure places, you would say. So quite different places. So the west of Africa, so like Morocco, Fez, Marrakesh.
But usually you stay in hotels or in
No,
somebody's private houses?
no, so I stay in houses when I go there. So I have a couple of connections in West Africa, and they also have connections. And I tend to, it's not couch surfing, nothing like that. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. But I tend to stay in like Airbnb style houses, but also shared accommodation. So there'll be a lot of other international travellers. So just for example, when I last went to Agadir, there's a house there, like a big family house, probably 12 bedrooms, really big house. Lots of different travellers there. You all eat breakfast together. You all eat with your hands. You're all together.
Together with this family?
Yeah, you're eating with the mum, the dad, the brother, the sister. 8 different travellers I was eating with, all from different parts of the world.
So you were part of their family during this trip?
You're a family member, yeah, exactly. And it's you call it a homestay. So that's what that would be technically, the bubble, homestay. So, but I also like to do a lot of city breaks. So Milan was before this. I went by myself again. 4 days, stayed right in the centre of Milan, right next to the metro station, very easy connections, going to the Duomo, going to lots of the different canals that they have within the city centre. Fantastic, complete opposite end of the scale, but again, different experiences. And when you travel, you need to know what kind of experience you're going to have and what's your preference to this. But if you don't know, it's important just to travel and experience different things.
So personally, I would prefer use the hotels. I'm using hotels.
Yeah.
But I'm not choosing the 5-star ones.
No.
I'm choosing like 3 because the quality is okay. Depends on the country for sure, but in a case, for example, of España, 3 is okay. And I don't see personally the sense to take the 5-star hotel because I only sleep there, eat and go outside.
Yeah, for me, I completely, unless like I said, it's a city break, the hotel doesn't, you would say, even enter my head. So it's always a homestay, something like this. And I think I get more substance from that. Hotels are nice when you don't want to think about anything, and it's a traditional pay, let's go, everything's sorted out for you. But I'm a natural explorer, so I like to go out and into the world and explore new cultures and new things. That's why when you're picking a holiday, a destination's very important. You have to understand what are your preferences to travel.
So when you stay in somebody else's house, you need to take care of your own food, or how it looks like?
The food, what I've stayed in at homestays, is usually that breakfast is covered, and sometimes dinner is covered as well. But the way I operated when I stayed, I intend to be very integrated for my time there. When I last went to Agadir, I stayed there nearly a month. So I was literally living in the house with people for nearly a month. And I was helping cook, I was serving tea, I was learning how they make their tea, because they have black tea there with cardamom inside and also spearmint as well. Completely new taste sensation for me. Something that I've transferred over to here. And I was helping cook breakfast, serving. Very interesting, very interesting. But that's the kind of experience that I wanted. I wanted a memorable experience. Whereas in a hotel, you arrive, show your number, they give you a breakfast table, and it's all laid on, you would say, which is super nice as well, especially if you're stressed and you want to go to relax. Super
exactly.
nice.
Depends what's your goal.
Depends on your goal. Travel is all about goals and like what your preferences are.
Yeah, also eating out is a really interesting topic, especially in the country where you were.
It depends where you want to eat out. So what's your favourite food? Let's start with that. So what's your favourite?
My favorite food is really hard to say because I like to explore new new tastes. So I can eat everything, also weird things, which is I would say illegal in Poland. If somebody will propose me, I would eat it to only the try.
So what's the strangest food you've ever eaten?
Strangest.
Well, somebody could raise their eyebrows at.
I mean, I didn't eat dogs or something like this. Maybe not yet.
Not yet. Because you haven't gone to Thailand.
But for me, the interesting experience was to eat seafood.
Seafood, okay. And what seafood did you have?
I
Which
don't
kind?
know exactly the...
Did it have lots of legs, or did it swim like a fish?
Both.
So you've tried lots of things. So you've tried octopus, you've tried squid, you've tried octopus. Different ocean fish.
Snails, for example. That's not seafood, but I also
You've tried
it.
That's a new one I've never tried. What does it taste like?
if you don't know if it is snail, you probably won't see that it's a snail.
They say it tastes like chicken.
Yeah. It's
So, but is that just something your brain
it's
creates?
something that you don't know. You don't know this taste, but
You don't know it, but you don't dislike it
Yeah.
straight away. As long as you're not a vegan
yeah.
or an animal rights activist, then you probably wouldn't enjoy that very much. But no, I think the strangest thing I've eaten is like ostrich. I've eaten an ostrich before. And a lot of wild meats are like hare, buffalo, ox. A lot of, you would say, game. So like wild game. So like something that someone's hunted and caught. Yeah, and that tastes.
But you ate it, did you?
I've ate it, yeah.
And somebody like private person prepared it for you, or you
Yeah,
bought it
quite a lot of international food was in Spain because I lived in Spain for a short period of time, around 6 to 7 months, and you could get quite a lot of different food in Spain. Spain's very diverse. It's a good place. It's a good ground to practice on, I would say. Like if you're unsure about things, Spain's a good practicing ground.
But it's dangerous because you can have bugs inside this meat.
You could have bugs inside the meat. It depends on like who's hunted it and how they've killed it, and the preparation, I suppose. But it's the same with the seafood. I mean, you could have high mercury levels from the sea, and people get consumed. But I think the minute you step outside your front door, you're polluted. So
basically, everything is risky.
Yeah,
you can eat plastic.
There's parabens in the air now. Off the lights. Off touching a laptop. I mean. We have parabens within us. But that's a different topic. That's more science based. So we could be starting a science podcast, but I don't think so. But yeah, so we've talked about destination and food. But I think what's important with food is, and obviously fluid as well, is something we've not talked about. When you're going to different countries, it's important. Like, what are the 3 things that you shouldn't do? We talked about this before. We'll see.
Shouldn't do in some specific country.
In some usually non-European countries, as a rule of thumb, you would say you wouldn't do these 3 things.
That's really hard to say for me because I know only it from theory because I wasn't outside the Europe already. Maybe in the future I will travel to some countries.
I think you will.
But I know that each culture has like specific type of behaviors that you should follow when you are in their countries.
Yeah. So that the 3 connected to food though, the 3 things that you shouldn't do are water is ice cubes. So people often overlook that. So if you're going for a cold drink off a market or street vendor and they say, "Would you like ice with that?" Make sure first of all that it's come out of a sealed bottle, not from a tap. That's like common sense. But then you think, oh, well, I've got a sealed bottle. Yeah, I'll have some ice. No, don't take the ice because the ice, 99.9% of the time, is from tap water or river water. So it's full of bugs. You get a bad stomach. That's why having Imodium or some Diarrhea kind of electrolyte powder is very important to take with you.
Okay, but you know this thing. But people who live there, they are normally taking this ice? Or?
But yeah, people can. I think your stomach will adjust. It's the different probiotics and different strains of bacteria that live within the gut, and they eventually get used to these things. It's like eating spicy food for the first time. Imagine if I gave you like a spoonful of mustard, like a dessert spoon.
I would die after.
You'd probably die. But then once you come back from the dead, you'd be connected to the toilet for quite a few hours. So you'd
or days.
or days. And then you'd die again. And then you'd wake up again. But no, you'd become some sort of zombie off Fallout. But no, it's important. So you would adjust your stomach. You would adjust your stomach to the environment, but you can't do that as a tourist. It comes over many months and years, and it takes time. Also, another thing to do is, so the water's sealed, you have the ice cubes. When you're having like personal hygiene, so when you're showering, try to close your eyes. Don't let too much water, if any, in your ears because you can get ocular infections. And also, don't let it go in your mouth. Third one, brushing your teeth. Harmless as it may be, don't wet the toothbrush if it's not sealed bottled water. Don't even use a little bit of tap water. Don't even wash the brush with the tap to let it dry. Think that's the basic one. So you can use the bottled water, you can rinse with the bottled water, but then people still wash with tap water the brush. But then it has bacteria on it all that and it gets you tomorrow.
Yeah, but it's really, from my perspective, it's really hard to remember about these things because normally I'm doing everything what you just said naturally, like
It's
taking the
autopilot.
water inside my eyes.
But the autopilot can get you in trouble
Yeah.
sometimes. So you just have to be aware, like you have to think, you have to just think things through and think, will this affect me if I brush my teeth with a milliliter of tap water? Yeah, potentially. You could ruin your whole trip. You could just be in your hotel room, with a hot water
Be
bottle.
dying the whole trip.
Yeah. I don't think you'll die, but like you'll become severely dehydrated, which has happened to me before, and I've ended up in hospital on a drip. So I know it can actually happen quite bad. But I think with any desert, it's important to try new things, but especially with things that go inside your mouth. If you're eating, say, in Thailand, or you're eating in Vietnam, or in any, South Asian country, just be aware. Try to just use common sense. Apply common sense. So if the street vendor looks unclean, go to a different street vendor. If they're cooking you meat, for example, and they have the meat on the skewer and you're buying some form of kebab with noodles, for example. Noodles are quite easy because they're cornstarch or they're another kind of material which they cook in boiling hot water and it kills off everything. And it's usually in a dehydrated format and then they hydrate it. The odds of you getting sick are quite... And the water is boiling, so it doesn't really matter what water it is. It's all the things are dead inside. But the meat, for example, how is it stored? Because they probably don't have a fridge. So is it wise to eat the meat? Probably not. But if you love meat, like I can take it or leave it, you would say. But you want to make sure that it's red hot. So as soon as it touches the searing rack or the fryer, it's instantly hot. You don't want any flies around there and you don't want it taking a long time to warm up because it's probably going to make you sick. So information is important before traveling to these obscure countries.
Yes, regarding the information, how you take it, you are searching in on internet or you have like somebody who give you this type of advices?
Experience. That's all the thing. So
you have couple stomach ache and
a lot of times. Like I said, I've ended up in a hospital because of it on the drip. And I remember checking myself into the local hospital and they asked me what my name was and I couldn't do a full sentence and I couldn't fully remember my name. Oh, wow. And I went that way from maybe 7 or 8 p.m. until 9 a.m. the following day. That's how fast I deteriorated. And then I had a blood test and they said that there was markers with my kidney, my liver. I had some damage there in 12 hours. Wow. And that was from brushing my teeth and drinking a cup of water. So ever since then, very careful, but it comes from experience, and that's why travel is important because you experience and grow as a person. If it doesn't kill you, So, but that's the disadvantage of traveling. I mean, there's many advantages of traveling. What do you think? What are some of the advantages of traveling?
About advantages, I would say that you learn a lot. You learn different cultures. You see how different. How people in different country behaves, what they are daily goals, for example.
You nearly turned Polish on me then for a second. You went yak and you went to say something and then you changed it like how, or like how they do this. So Bart is native Polish speaker and obviously speaks fluent Polish. But this podcast is in English. So I got worried then. I thought my Polish was about to be tested. So
I just tested it. Catch it.
I was like, oh, this is really difficult. But Bart's speaking English and it's his second language, so he's doing very well, actually.
Yeah, I'm trying to do my best.
Yeah, you're doing fantastic. Top student.
Yeah.
So, I think some of the other advantages as well, so like it broadens your perspective on life. So that's another interesting one with travel. You grow as a person, lots of experiences, and you meet new people. And that's ultimately, I think, what humans are set up to do, is to meet new people, interact with other humans and learn things.
Yeah, especially, I guess, in Africa, where people have different lifestyles.
Well, we can look at them and it's hard to explain. So after spending some time there and being integrated within a family unit and meeting lots of people's family, friends, viewing a funeral taking place, meeting other members of the funeral congregation, you would say, really eye-opening experience. But all I wanted when I left there was to be like them. I really respected them, how they operate as a family unit. They don't have a lot of money, but when they need money, they can get money. And money's not important to them. Respect and different values are important to them. And when you come back to the Western world in Europe and other places, people have lost sight, in my opinion, of that, and it's not important. That's things. It's nice to have them, but it's nice to be aware that, you would say the shoe on the other foot, and all people from my personal experience, I'm not talking about everybody. They want to be like you. They want the things you've got, but you want the things they have.
You mean in Europe?
Yeah, they want the the expensive lifestyle. They want a cleaner standard of living. They want a safer place to live sometimes, but they can't have it because they can't get a visa in the first place to even come here. We can fly to Morocco with no visa. They can't do that. They're trapped there sometimes. They need a working visa to leave. And I think your priorities can change as a person once you spend time there. So, yeah, opening your eyes, that's what travel's good for.
Yeah, you don't care about the cars, January houses.
It's nice to have those things. Let's be honest.
Yes,
everybody, it's nice to have nice things. But it's not, there's wants and there's needs. There's when you want something, you want it, but you don't need it. Yeah. So
to show your neighbour that you have better than
you would say keeping up with the Joneses, keeping up with the Smiths. So you get an electric fence, they get an electric fence. You get a black Audi, they get a black Audi or BMW. It's whereas they need water, they need food, they need family members to look after them. They need someone when they're old to look after them because they can't afford or they don't have a care home. So family is number one in these countries, number one. Nothing, and I thought that type of a country would be dominated by religion. It is. They go to mosque at certain times every day. They do certain things, but it doesn't dominate who they are as people. They're just nice people. They're actually They don't operate just on that basis of religion. They operate on.
They have just their rules based on the religion, but
based on this, they don't, and they follow them. But it's difficult to see it in everyday life because they're not crazy. There's nothing wrong with these people. They're just people like we all are, and I felt actually really safe and comfortable being there. It was nice to be there. Yeah, I didn't feel like an alien at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I felt very calm and comfortable being there.
Because in Europe we have kind of the rat race.
The rat race, that's a nice way of putting it, yeah. So, yeah, that's like an idiom, a nice way of saying it, the rat race. Who's got what, how fast can you get there, and how high can you climb up the ladder? And to a lot of people, that's very important. Does it matter when you die? Maybe the legacy you leave or what financial benefits that you leave to your family. Will you be remembered? Will you be happy? Will you be sustained in life? I don't know.
Yeah, but when you have like house, car, and like work or something, you should put some money to the travel to make more experience.
Yeah, you should, or give it away to charities or family or people that need it, for example. But travel, I think, is one of the only things that makes you richer, and not in financial sense, obviously.
Mentally richer.
Yeah, like in the whole, in your whole being, you would say, it makes you richer as a person, more quality. People, for example, I think people trust you more. So it's like a weird how it works. So people like to listen to experiences. People like to talk about what you've done and learn. Learn.
You become a more interesting person.
You become more interesting person. So that's another topic altogether.
Yeah.
So you become one of the most interesting people in the room, let's say, because you've done things. Imagine if you spent a year living in Vietnam. I'd like to hear about it. 100%. More than a book. I'd like to talk about it because that sounds really interesting. And I'd be able to see it in your eyes when you were describing. We did this and we went here and we did this, and it's interesting. It's food for thought. You would say it's food for thought. I'm eating, listening to you. It's very interesting.
Exactly.
And it's very personable. It's not watching it on TV. It's listening to it from Bart, and this is how Bart reacted to it, and. It's all about stories like that. I think it's really interesting.
Sometimes I watch some videos on YouTube how people travel in the Africa or in, like, I would say, wild countries where normally people are afraid to go. Yeah. And I'm scared when I sometimes watch these people because they are jump inside the environments where one wrong move and they die.
Really die, yeah. When I was travelling through Morocco in different sections, so I went from north to south, and spent quite a lot of time there. And I've been multiple times before for different reasons. Because on the second to last time that I went, I spent nearly a month in Atlas Mountains. So it's a very famous mountain range, and that's completely different lifestyle than normal Morocco, if you understand what I mean. You're living with the mountain people. Whoa, like completely different, mind-blowing experience.
That they live outside of everything.
They just live outside of everything, and they're connected with interconnecting different communities and things like this. It's a different language altogether. So before the Arabs invaded that side of Africa, we're talking many hundreds and thousands of years ago, you had a community called Berbers, Berber people. They have their own language, they have their own alphabet, and they were actually agnostic, so they didn't have a full religion that they really followed too heavily. They weren't atheists, but they didn't really operate on following one God. So this is before the Muslim times, basically. And they lived in different communities, and they originated from the Atlas Mountain range. Berber people, the name, they didn't have actually the name Berber. The Arabics, when they came, named them Berber, and Berber in Arabic means barbarian, because they were great at fighting wars. They were very tough on horseback and things like this. Over time, since the invasion and the different occupations of the Arabs, everyone now speaks Arabic in that part of the world. But there is still Berber communities, but they have a different status within the whole country. So they don't buy from normal shops and vendors, they only buy from each other. They still keep the old ways. So if you ever go on a tour guide for the Atlas region or to any famous waterfalls or Sahara, it's usually run by Berber communities. And they're completely different people. It's blue and red, white and black. They're completely different colours, different people. They operate in a different format, and people don't know that a lot. So I'd recommend that if you do go there, try to...
But do they have like electricity, internet or things like that?
Yeah, they live in their own communities, but they're fully self-sufficient. So each community, when they got invaded, they obviously lived near enough in one big commune. But since the invasion and since the occupation of different Arabic like occupational takeovers throughout history, they've split up into different factions of Berbers. They're still Berbers, but they're factioned out.
But do they fight with each other?
No, they never fight between themselves. They work together. This is the whole point. So it's a big spider's web of a community. So they have a market every Sunday, and then they'll trade. So they'll trade apples, fruit. They'll trade materials, and they're connected. They have the internet, electricity, mobile phone. They're just like us, but they still operate on the old systems, the old ways. And one community will know if a leading family member has died 200 or 300 kilometres away in a different community. The news travels fast. They're very much traditional in that sense. So it's only until now, recently in the last year, 2 years, that they're teaching the Berber language to some of the children in school. It's now a government initiative to educate even the Moroccan people more on Berber people, because they're looked at as a lesser part of the community. Not like, they're just like a lesser community, but they're not. They are the original people from West Africa before the Arabs came there. Super interesting history. So I've spent time with those people, and it's completely different experience than the homestay that I experienced there. It's another thing altogether.
Yeah, and you feel comfortable in that?
You feel comfortable with them, yeah. You feel very safe with them and things like this. They know how to read the land very well. They're experts in survival almost.
They are using English as...
they can speak English, they can speak Arabic, they can speak Berber. Some of them speak French, because when you go down...
it's like mixed...
Yeah, when you go down the west coast of Africa, French is the second biggest language there. So they speak English, French, they speak Berber, Arabic. They can write all them languages. Super interesting people. But if you were to look at what qualifications from what university they haven't been to school, they don't have a university.
Yeah.
But their IQ must be through the roof. They can do everything. Cultivate, farm, trade, work. They're like superhumans almost.
They know like basic things to survive.
and non-basic. They can run businesses, tour guides, they do everything. They're a one-stop shop. They do everything. Super interesting people. So I recommend if anyone is going that way. The link can be in the description at the bottom for these connections to these different tours and people.
I will also check it because I haven't heard about it.
Berber people. A lot of people don't know about them. So that's we've talked quite a lot there about the advantages and disadvantages of travel. But I'm trying to think, is there anything more you can add to that? So what about tips for traveling?
Yeah, so regarding the tips, I'm not traveling to the country as you, but to let's say Europe country. Let's check in European. Let's check in the internet how the country looks like. I mean, how the connections when you want to travel inside the country. Also, I propose to take like some power bank if you are out of the battery to have an internet, because when you have internet you will easily find yourself inside this type of countries. Also, I propose to take some small first aid kit to be prepared for the small injury.
I think a first aid kit is necessary. And another good source I found over these, I used to buy a small box or like a soft box, something to keep something soft in, like a fleece box. And I used to construct my own first aid kit. But what I do now is I check online. And because obviously I do a lot of sports still, I still do a lot of triathlon, ultra marathon. So there's a lot of bike, run and swim involved in my general activity levels, which can take me long distances. So you can be away from anybody and you would say you're out in the sticks. So you're away from other people for long periods of time. So it's important to be able to potentially look after yourself. So we're talking about basic pharmaceutical things that you need to carry with you. Nasal spray, antihistamine, Imodium, dialyte, electrolytes, things to look after inside and pain levels. Also with the first aid, they sell specific triathlon or active people first aid kits, and they have quite a lot of stuff in already. But what they do come with is they come with a booklet on like an idiot's guide to first aid. I have a qualification in first aid. I top it up every year, and it's important for me personally to know about these sort of things, to look after myself primarily, because I'm always getting injured, and I'm like a glue to injuries. And but that's another story, another podcast. But what is important is to have the guide. So when you do buy these first aid kits, make sure they've got a guide in there, and take some of your other pharmaceutical needs with you. Because it's very easy to get sick and go downhill fast, you would say. Regarding like personal care, power bank, like you mentioned, super important. How many days battery could your phone have? There was a movie a couple of years ago about a trail runner, I think he was. I don't know if you saw this, it's on Netflix. And he got stuck down between two rocks.
And he had to cut his
That's it. Now, I don't know how first aid kit would prepare you for that. I don't know. But provisions might have helped him, because I don't think he had a power bank. I don't think he had two phones or extra charge. Whether that would help him, but I think in that scenario, why wouldn't you have a satellite phone so you could make maybe a distress beacon, like an avalanche detector? I know when I go hiking in Tatra or different Austrian mountains, I take avalanche detector with me. So if I do get covered with snow, at least it sends a signal out and somebody can find me. So I think he had to cut his arm off.
It depends on which type of trip you are going.
Depends what type of trip you're going. So we're talking about somewhere more obscure here. But if you're going on an all-inclusive holiday, you still need to look after your personal safety.
Yeah, I said these things that I just said. I meant to the trip.
On the European trip. So power bank and basic pharmaceutical grade first aid, because pharmacies, usually within the proximity of an all-inclusive resort, are double or triple the price of normal pharmacies.
I have also another trip.
You've remembered something else?
Yeah, I remember something else. But I traveled in the times when I didn't have like bank app in phone. So in these times I divide the money that I took with myself to the small pieces, and I hide it in every pocket that I have, like in socks,
Okay.
for example.
So you have multiple places.
Yeah,
Okay.
in bag, in the wallet,
Good idea.
to divide it, because in a case when somebody will steal your
Steal, or you lose some money,
lose.
or you forget where it is.
Yeah.
There's lots of different.
You have something to
Yeah, not everybody accepts Visa or MasterCard. There's other vendors available, but those two. But I think what's important is like you said, just being prepared. So preparedness. So money, pharmaceutical grade treatments, which won't cost you an arm and a leg. You would say they won't be overpriced by 4 or 5 times the price. And knowing who to call, having some important numbers in your phone. So if it's an all-inclusive trip we're talking about now, have the hotel rep, the rep for your holiday company in your phone. Very important.
Yeah, that would be nice also to have like another phone.
Yeah.
But not smartphone. I would say like kind of the old phone.
Dual band phone.
Which battery will took like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. What we used to play, a Snake on the phone. So like a Nokia 8210.
Yeah, something like this.
They're a beast, those phones. The Nokia 8210. I've got one of those, a similar one of those, what I take on little trips with me. And it's always got money on a SIM card. Just dual band, dead easy. And
because already battery in smartphones took like 2 days max.
That's without any usage. With usage, 8 hours, something like this. So, So, battery technology hasn't moved on too far at the moment, but that could all change in the future.
Okay. Let's talk about our final thoughts, because
final thoughts.
Yeah. So first thing first, travel makes you more creative.
I think it does. Yeah. How so? How would you say it makes you more creative? So maybe not like painting things like an artist, but
a lot of businessmen will travel around the world to take an ideas and plug in and install it, plug in, start it in their own country.
Yeah, startup businesses where they've seen something work in another country and you think, I could adapt that. So it's not the same, but I could adapt that and implement it where I'm from. So that's perspective. So it gives you a different perspective on life. Like we talked about before, people in different countries sometimes want what you have, but you want the basics, and it's very basic, it's what they have. So it does open your eyes to things. And I think that goes on to another topic, just briefly, before we finish. People watching. It's important to watch people. It's one of my favourite sports, I would say. I love sports, and I love watching people, like not football, not this. I like sitting there with a coffee and watching people. I find it so interesting. Like how they operate, how local vendors deal with money problems with each other, how they share things, and why is this guy doing this? Why is this lady going here? I find it so interesting. And I can learn so much about how they operate. Like in China, for example, you don't use your mobile phone on a train. Whereas in other countries, it's no big deal. People listen to music on their loudspeaker sometimes and cause disruption to everybody. They don't care, with their feet up on the seat. Different culture. Some countries you don't shake with your left hand. You don't eat with your left hand. You don't drink with your left hand. You shake with the right hand. Yeah. In Poland and other European countries, you give someone a hug, but it all depends on where you are. So I think culturally, as a final thing, you can learn a lot by just watching people and thinking, why is it different than where I'm from? And just spend an hour watching things and grow as a person. It's free. Exactly. It's free knowledge. Well, so last thing to finish on, where are you going to travel in the future? Where do you want to go? That's the last question.
Oh, that's an interesting question. I would say that everything depends on the money.
Okay. Because let's say you have £5,000. You don't have to use it all. You don't have to use any of it. But where would you travel to?
I wasn't in America. I wasn't in Asia.
Okay.
So also in Africa. I was only in Europe countries. Okay. So basically, every of the other continents that would be.
You want to go further afield next time. Yeah. Okay. So you don't have an exact destination.
But already, I would say that I would love to go everywhere, which I mentioned instead of Europe. But first move, besides Europe, would be Asia, I guess.
Okay, so like Indonesia, that kind of a place.
Yeah, like
a beach holiday or more of a travelling holiday.
Vietnam, like Taiwan.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Vietnam's nice. Vietnam would be really nice.
China, I'm afraid a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I know what you're saying. Also, as well, there's a couple of political problems in that area at the moment.
Exactly.
Same with South Korea, North Korea, things like this. So there's a lot of
Japan is also
you have to be. You would say it's due a conflict in this area. It's been many years now, so somebody has to fall out with somebody. I think for me, travel next would, I don't know, probably back to West Africa. I liked it a lot there. But maybe further afield, similar to Asia. Bali is somewhere I really want to see. Also Maldives, but not maybe a working trip more than a vacation trip. So teaching English, teaching sport, something like this. Definitely a working holiday.
Working holiday.
Yeah, like a
so
working
you are
holiday.
Not the guy who will be chill on the holiday.
Never see me chill. No, no. The last time I was in, I flew from as a spur of the moment thing. I flew from from Marrakesh to Gran Canaria because there was a really cheap connection, and I flew there on New Year's Eve. No, 2 days before New Year's Eve last year, and then I thought, what can I do? I've got my running trainers with me. What can we do? I know it's a volcanic country, so I Googled different things, and I saw that part of a bike competition called the Giro, which is like a 500-kilometer bike ride they do there.
500. Wow.
Yeah, one of the sections that they use is a volcano, which is dormant, you would say, so it won't explode. They hope it won't. It hasn't exploded for many years. And I thought, well, I'm at sea level, and it goes to 2,000 meters. And it's also a round trip of 26 kilometres up and 26 kilometres down. I thought, I can run that on New Year's Day.
Run.
So I packed my bag, my Solomon backpack and my sticks and everything, and I ran it. And it took me 9.5 hours from my hotel back. So that's a working trip for me. So whether I'm working in activity or working with a job. But I can't just lie on the beach. I didn't visit the beach once whilst I was there. I was struggling running up a hill, and I loved it. So that's me personally.
Nice.
So
we need to make a podcast regarding the sports.
We should do, really. We should
like that because we are both involved in sports.
Cars and sports or something like that. Or software, actually, and sports. That would be more interesting.
Yeah.
But so I think that's enough. I think that'll wrap it up nicely.
Yeah, exactly. I think that we cover everything what we wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not everything because it's impossible.
Yeah, well, there's other episodes to come.
Travel is like huge topic, and it is impossible to talk about everything in half or 1 hour.
Yeah,
but we will
interesting.
Probably come back soon to this topic, maybe extend it a little bit.
No problem. I think how we could extend this more in the future would be maybe a A1, B1 level, which would be situational. We can have a bit of a role play, something like this. So that's to come in the future. Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's all for today. Every links, every contacts and things will be in description. So make sure to check this, and we will see you in next podcast. Thank you. Bye.